we go.
I feel like we need elevator music. Are we live?
We're live.
We're live. Hey everyone, welcome to the first live Q&A for Oberlo 101 students. I've got a finger of warning from Magda here. Yes.
Hi everyone, and Jessica. We might need to give it a few seconds as we load it up over here.
Oh, okay. Sounds...
Oh,
I think this is looking good.
Okay.
I think we might have
perfect.
had a little bit of a delay and we're all good now, so fantastic. This is Magda. Magda is here to
Hi,
help
everyone.
me chat a little bit and answer some of your questions. Magda is a dropshipper.
Yep. I love dropshipping. I'm a dropshipping addict.
Perfect. And so she'll provide some real life examples. She also has a lot of experience answering questions, so the perfect person to have here.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
having
much, Jessica. Yes, I am a dropshipper, but I also work at Oberlo. So I'm a dropshipping expert, you could say, in more ways than one. So I'm so excited to be here and help answer some of your questions.
Now, just two housekeeping items before we dive in. The first is if you have to leave this chat before we have a chance to answer your question, you can always use this same link that you found in the email to come back to this chat. And we'll work on making this link available in the course as well. Look for it in the last lesson or on the page of the course itself. And then the second, if we don't get to your question in this chat, you can always contact our support team and a real human will answer your question. And what's the email they should use for that?
You should send your questions to hello@overlow.com. The support team is amazing and they help hundreds, if not thousands, of merchants every single day. So they are experts in dropshipping. So even if you don't have a problem, even if you just have a question about your store or want some feedback, I would definitely suggest reaching out to them. They are a wealth of knowledge and they are so critical to use.
Totally. And then third, we actually have one of those awesome, helpful human beings in the chat right now. Paco is available, and so he'll also be jumping in the chat to answer questions that maybe I don't see. I'm seeing hellos from Kansas City, from Ecuador, and it's amazing that you all are taking the course. But you took the course because you wanted a value-rich, content-rich dropshipping course. So let's try to give you a value-rich, content-rich Q&A now and dive right into your questions.
I hope you're ready to learn.
Yeah, you better be ready. We are going to teach you so much. We had one, Tracy, at the very beginning of the chat had dropped this question about what tool we used to make our video ads. And I want to get something off my chest. We chose a tool in the course, a video editing tool, that is kind of, it's not like a big brand, it's just available for both Macs and PCs, which is what we wanted to show, something that everyone could use. I'm just going to go ahead and answer personally. I love video editing with iMovie. I have a Mac, I use iMovie, and I find it really helpful. You were talking about a video editing software the other day you really liked for ads.
Yeah, I actually love Animoto. I would definitely suggest it. And this is not them paying me to say this.
No.
Animoto just works amazing. You pretty much just drag and drop pictures or video clips, and they arrange it into an ad, a video ad for you. It's amazing because I'm a really lazy dropshipper. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but sometimes I just don't always want to order a sample of products. If there's really nice pictures available online, I would rather use those. And with Animoto, you can just use pictures and they move them into a slideshow and it makes it look like it's a video even though it's not. And you can have a video ad going after finding a product in about 30 minutes to an hour. It's amazing. So it definitely is worth it. It does have a monthly fee, but I think that if you're serious about dropshipping, it's a really good investment, and I would definitely stand behind it.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop, I think it's animoto.com. I'll go ahead and drop the name of that into the chat so you guys can have that. I love how many people, we've got someone from LA, London, Australia. It's incredible. I have to quote this one guy, Mark, you say, probably going to get fired if I'm caught watching this, but that might not be a bad thing. I feel you on that. Sometimes the job just doesn't do it for you.
Sometimes you need a push. Sometimes it's the universe giving you a little bit of a push.
I've got a question from Sonia from Texas. She says, when customers receive a purchase, is the address from China or the USA? And the answer is the address is usually from China because most of all of the products on AliExpress come from China.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, you can find products that ship from warehouses in the USA. And actually tomorrow we have a YouTube video coming out that lists 10 products that ship from the USA.
Make sure to subscribe and smash the notification
That's right.
bell so that you are the first to get to those products.
Exactly. Two notes on that. Just customers, some dropshippers get afraid, like, oh, if a product is coming from China, the customer is going to be distrustful. I've never heard of that getting in the way of a dropshipper making money, but I do recommend you order test products so you can just see, hey, did it come in good shape? Read the customer reviews, and it's usually not a problem.
Yeah, and it seems like something that is a big problem when you're talking about drop shipping, but you should really think about how often you look at the package when you order something. This happened to me a few times. I ordered something from Amazon and I thought, well, it's coming from Amazon, it's going to be here in a few days, awesome. And it took a little bit longer than that. And when I looked at the package, I realized, oh, it came from China. I had never noticed before. And it seems like in drop shipping, it's something you always worry about and you're always thinking about. But most of the time, when you get a package, you're so excited to have your package finally arrive. You just rip it open. You just throw out the package. You're not studying the package to see exactly where it came from. And just because it comes from China doesn't mean it's not packaged really well. I just recently purchased a necklace from AliExpress for myself, and it came in a beautiful jewelry box. I was so impressed. So I would definitely suggest ordering sample products too, because you might be really surprised by the packaging that it comes in.
Totally. Wow, we've got tons of questions, which is amazing to see. So I just want to reiterate that if we don't get to your question, we've got multiple places for you to ask that question and get answers. We've got Paco in the chat, and then hello@oberlo.com will also be a great place to ask. I'm going to take another question. We have kind of a broad one that's worth addressing. Jaden says, I really want to try and make my first sale, but I've had no luck so far. I'm selling clothes. Do you suggest I try a different product? Clothes. So my first dropshipping store was a leggings store, and I thought, okay, leggings are stretchy, they'll fit anyone. This should be safe. And I made some sales, but I got so many emails and questions about sizing that I realized, and I would respond to those emails and give them a size chart, but I had lost the sale. Like very few of those people went back to make the sale. Selling clothes is possible, but you need to have the test products. You need to find that size chart. And honestly, if you're just starting out and you're on a budget and you can't afford to really test and do a lot of product research, I would say sell accessories or sell something more universal size, like a hat or a vest or something.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you've ever gone to the mall shopping for yourself, you'll know that even from store to store, a medium is completely different. So it's really difficult to sell clothing online. It's absolutely doable, and we've interviewed a few huge dropshipping merchants that are really really successful dropshipping clothes, but it's definitely not something that we would recommend for beginners. It's definitely a challenge. And with dropshipping, one of the golden rules is that it's really really beneficial if you can focus on impulse buys, products that a customer can see and they want to purchase right away. They're like, oh, an iPhone case, this iPhone case is so cool, it's the right size for my iPhone, I'm going to buy it right now, I'm not going to wait until tomorrow. And with clothes, you usually have to shop around. Then you have to think, wait, what are inches? What size am I anyways?
Yeah.
You might you think that a sizing chart might solve it, but you actually probably need more information than that and time. And why would you restrict yourself when you have millions of amazing products on AliExpress? So you can definitely succeed with selling clothing, but if you do, I would suggest selling accessories. I found that when I was with one of my dropshipping stores, I found more success selling men's chains, like men's fashion accessory chains, than the men's clothes themselves, because the chains are really easy to pair with any clothing, and you know the sizing right away, and it was much more successful. So I would definitely suggest that instead.
Cool. We've got some interesting questions. First, Elijah asks, he said he's following every step of the course and he's selling the exact same products with a different store name. Totally fine by us. One of the myths about dropshipping is if one person or even 100 people are selling a product, that you can't make money with the same product. We can't go into details on the data, but let's just say we have the data and it shows that that's not true. There are lots of different stores making sales on the exact same product. Yep. So if you can sell those coffee pods, go forth and sell those coffee pods, and good luck.
It's actually a really smart thing to do. if you check out our YouTube channel, which I know you all do, but you should definitely go back and watch those videos again because there's a wealth of knowledge in there. We interview so many successful merchants. We bring them on here and we always ask them about their stores, about their products, how they find winning products. And it really surprised me after all the interviews that I started to realize that the most successful dropshippers are the ones that don't necessarily look for new products that are going to be a breakthrough on the scene. They actually look for products that are already doing well, that somebody else is already selling and they can see that it's proven that it's working, and then they sell it too. So it's a really smart idea actually to look at what we were doing with Green Kitchen Goods, check out the winning product, and then try and sell that one as well because there's definitely a huge market for it and we've already validated it for you.
Yeah.
So you can skip that whole step and just get right into advertising it. So that's actually a really, really great idea.
I'm getting some questions that we have to address, even though they're kind of tricky questions. If you're into dropshipping, you're following us on YouTube. You're probably also following Scott Hilsey on YouTube, and you know that he started this he's been talking a lot about this new platform, Silk Road, that he started. I don't know a lot about Silk Road personally. I I love Scott, and the last that I heard, I'm in Scott's private Facebook group because I took Scott's course, and it was great. And the last that I heard, he was kind of recommending people start with Oberlo, test with Oberlo, and scale into Silk Road because a lot of the benefits Silk Road has is for people who are, I think, more advanced in their drop shipping. That's what I've been hearing. So unfortunately, I can't give you any behind the scenes look at Silk Road. You could Google it and see if there are other reviews. But certainly you can use both platforms, or you can start with one and move to the other if you decide. I think Scott is a great drop shipper, so I'm always watching his videos for new advice as well. And if you try it out, let us know what you think. Because at the end of the day, as long as drop shippers are succeeding on Shopify, like, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had a really interesting. People are asking about, of course, Facebook ads, and there was a comment. Someone wanted to start. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name, but someone wanted to start a store, and they weren't sure if it should be a general store or a really targeted niche store, say for arts and crafts. Um, I, I would. How would you answer that question, actually?
Um, that's a really tough question. I always thought you have to go with niche store. Niche store is the only way to do it. It just seems like the perfect formula. If you are able to find one winning product, then you can send email lists about your other products to those customers. So you can just continue making sales and building that same audience. But after our interviews with lots of successful merchants, we've seen that you can also start a general store and you can also be just as successful, if not more successful. And I think that at the end of the day, what we've started to realize is it doesn't necessarily matter what type of store you start, as long as you stick to it, figure out the problems. There will be some regardless of what path you choose.
There's always going to be problems.
Always. Even if you choose a one product store, you're still going to find problems and just keep going through them and working through them all. Now, with general stores, it's nice because you can test more trending products, maybe gadgets that you see are selling really well, and you can just go ahead and throw them in and start running Facebook ads for them. However, it's a little bit more difficult because they're all separate. With a niche store, if you focus on selling one product, you can at least see if people aren't buying it, you can at least see what other products maybe people are viewing on your store page. You can still use those emails to build lookalike audiences on Facebook because it's still kind of the same audience. And I think that one thing that is amazing about niche stores is that if you are able to find a winning product, you can build on that. When you introduce new products from the same category, you can send it to your email list. And if you watch our interview with Yulia and Mike, you'll know that one of their biggest regrets is not focusing on that email list sooner because it's free advertising. You already know that that's the right audience. They are already exposed to your brand and your store, and you can just advertise them to them for free. So you can definitely get started with any store. I would still recommend starting with a niche store personally. I think it's a little bit easier. I think that a general store, you might need to be more experienced and a more experienced drop shipper, but it's totally doable.
And there are different scopes of niche. Like I think the
Mm-hmm.
question that I saw on the channel was, should I do a niche paint by number store or a niche arts and crafts store?
Mm-hmm.
If you're beginning, go broad. So arts and crafts is still niche.
Yep.
So go ahead and test paint by numbers, test sewing, test whatever. I saw another question in here. I'll do a couple rapid fire. One was, is watches or fashion a profitable niche? I mean, absolutely.
Yes.
But the key to making money is to do something, you got to find something that stands out, because anyone can go to their local mall and find a simple black dress. So are you finding something that's really unusual? I saw there were watches where you can like have a lighter in the watch, something kind of nifty about it. So if you're going to do that, you have to find something that stands out.
Or do some branding that stands out, or do some sort of advertising that stands out. Now that's really important. One of our favorite first interviews with Scott, the product that he was selling that made him, that made him succeed, that had already been around for years. He mentions that, and that's what's the beauty of it, is it had been around for years. He just made a really clever video ad, and then that's what actually catapulted him to success. It wasn't that he found this new product that was totally different. So even if you are selling watches or fashion, just try to find a unique angle, whether it's in the ad itself, in the branding, or in the product.
We have so many really good questions. One question, Alex asked, I've been testing a lot of products and I've had a lot of add to carts, but no purchase. He offers free shipping and has been decreasing the price by $1 to see if there's a sweet spot price. And he wants to know, when should he pause the ad? If just reading this and not knowing more, if you've got a lot of add to carts, first of all, congratulations. Like, you're really making some progress there. I would just, before you keep decreasing the price, be careful with that, because we've had several pro dropshippers that we've talked to who just for the hell of it decided to increase the price, and they got more sales and then more money per sale. So it's not always a pricing issue. And if you've got, your ads are good enough to get those add to carts, people probably aren't so concerned about that. What I would make sure you're doing is look at where your traffic is coming from. If they're coming, say, the Green Kitchen Goods was in US dollars, but say I had a lot of traffic from the UK, the switch in currency, if I didn't have the right apps and settings in my store set up, could throw them off. As well, make sure you test your checkout process. Test it again, or ask a friend to go ahead and buy something and tell them you'll pay them back, and see if they're running into anything that you're not seeing on your end.
Yeah, when you're in it yourself, it's really hard to see because you're in the bubble. You really need to get some objective viewpoints. When we were interviewing Andreas and Alexandra, they mentioned that they changed the wording of one word that was spelt wrong, and all of a sudden they started to see sales. Same thing happens with pricing, and it's not usually decreasing. Surprisingly, it's actually when people increase prices that they start to see more sales, because there is an associated value with the price. When you charge more, people assume that it's a better quality or it's just worth that much. So it's definitely worth it to look into as well. And rather than racking your brain about it, go ahead and ask other people. I would suggest looking into your abandoned checkouts. Those people were about to purchase. You can go ahead and use them as a test. Email them, ask them maybe why they didn't. And in addition to asking why, maybe offer a discount code. Or maybe just ask them about your store, what they thought about the products. It doesn't hurt to show that you're interested in their opinion, and you might be surprised that they might actually end up purchasing from you because you sent them a discount code and you're showing you're a real person behind the store and brand. So definitely try to take an objective approach with it, and don't just focus on what you think. Always test and see what others think as well, and get outside opinions.
Totally. We have so many interesting questions that you guys ask. One question, I just want to direct them to the right part of the course, a question about returns. We have a whole lesson on returns and refunds, and we answer your question about, if they get a package from China, who do they send it back to? So go ahead and check out that. I think it's the very last lesson of the course, should answer all your questions. A question about TikTok marketing. I would say TikTok is the Wild West right now, which means there's tons of opportunity, but also no one really knows enough to tell you what's the best course of action. You could start just by reaching out to people and offering to send them free products, but keep in mind you have no way of tracking that. It's going to be difficult to track it. Some influencers might take advantage of it. A lot of people might not be interested. So if you are highly creative, there could be room for you to experiment there. It just might take a lot of time and some money and some risk. But that's how the very first people who made it rich on Instagram got started too.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely worth looking into. I think when people think about drop shipping, the first thing they think of is Facebook ads, then probably Instagram influencers.
yeah.
And I can understand why, because those have been the two most popular. But there's way more social media channels, and there's so many people on TikTok. It is a great thing to explore. We've heard of drop shippers finding a lot of success even with Snapchat ads. The more creative you can get, the better. Don't forget, if everyone is so focused on Facebook ads as a dropshipper, that means that they're not focused on TikTok. That means that TikTok is out there and yours for the taking. So it's definitely worth exploring. And also, there's lots of new influencers coming up on TikTok, and they might not have as strict rules as they do on Instagram. Right now on Instagram, influencers are getting pretty strict with how much they charge, what their prices should be at. TikTok is still pretty open. And while there will be bigger influencers who are very strict about pricing, it's definitely worth exploring.
I've got so someone is asking about dropshipping coffee, and he or she is being very insistent. I don't think dropshipping coffee is a good idea. I would say don't dropship anything that you would have customers to ingest or put on their skin. You just don't know. There's lots of rules around that stuff, and if someone gets sick, they're not going to blame the supplier in China. They're blaming you.
Yep.
So just avoid it. But you could if coffee's your passion. Drop ship some coffee makers, some coffee filters,
But a reusable coffee pot?
reusable coffee pods, perhaps, if you've taken the course. Go for it. Mohammed asks, I see your videos and all the success stories, but I would also like to know if people who failed, so I can have a perspective and learn from their mistakes. Just to address that, we have a video where we asked, I think like a dozen or at least 8 dropshippers about their failures, because all of the success stories you see had failures baked into them.
A few of them, usually. If you
Yeah,
go through them, it's really cool. You can also find them in more detail on the blog as well as our YouTube channels. They go into how many stores actually failed before they continued on, or how much money they lost in Facebook ads before they continued on and succeeded. It's really inspiring and definitely worth checking out. It always helps, it always reminds me that you need to keep going, and the winners are the ones who take that last failure as they put it in the past, and they just keep moving forward and they just continue finding success.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So at any point, it would have made a lot of sense for them to fail, and they just didn't.
Yeah, they just refuse. And I remember when we were talking with Yulia and Mike, one of my favorite lines that she ever said to us was that there was a time where she thought any sane person would quit, but she was not going to quit. She was going to keep going. And then she succeeded. And that's the mentality you need to have.
Yeah, totally. Santiago asks, how many sales are a signal of saturated products? Or how can I identify saturated products? And I'm smiling because, Magda, this is something you and I have talked about a lot, how there's really no such thing as saturated products. The only thing that's saturated is probably the fidget spinner.
Yeah.
That's the example everyone gives. But there are so many markets, because when you talk about saturation, you need to talk about the market that you're advertising to and the product that you're advertising. And there are so many different combinations of products and countries out there with e-packet shipping that haven't been tested. So the only thing is you need to remember, don't just think about dropshipping in the US or in your own country if you're in like Western Europe. Use Google Translate, get creative. It costs less usually to advertise on Facebook to these other countries. And you saw with Green Kitchen Goods, we got most of our sales from Australia and New Zealand, actually. And that was a surprise to us. We didn't expect that. So test that out. And if you see a product you think you could sell, go after different markets for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I love checking out, what talking to successful dropshippers and seeing what they're doing and how they did it. And it is always so awesome to see how many successful dropshippers do not even bother advertising to the United States. It's obviously where customers spend the most money, but it's also the most expensive to advertise to. So definitely consider advertising to other countries because there are huge markets out there for you to break into. And it's actually a really genius strategy because most of the time, products that are trending in the US are not also trending at the same time in other countries. They usually show up there a little bit later. So if you feel like you're late to a trend or you saw a product you really wanted to sell, but now it's over in the US, then go ahead and consider trying to sell it to other countries because there that trend might just be starting. It might just be catching fire and ads might be cheaper. So you might actually find even more success than you would in the United States. It's definitely worth looking into. And also, don't forget to look into getting a translation app for your store. They don't cost a lot of money, but if you're advertising to other countries, this app many of these apps will make it so that every time someone comes onto your page, it will automatically translate to their language. And this is so incredibly helpful and will definitely boost your sales and is definitely worth the monthly cost.
Totally. I wanted to reiterate some housekeeping notes. So I'm having fun here. I would go longer. We had originally planned half an hour, but we'll keep rolling with the questions. You can always come back to this with the same link you used to get here. So the video will be uploaded and it will be saved here for you to find. You won't find it on the Overload channel because this is private. It's only for Overload 101 customers. So I just wanted to note that. Exclusive. And you can email hello@overload.com if we don't get to your question. And we'll try to do these, we will do these once a month so that you can come back and hopefully then you'll have a totally different question because you'll be further along in your journey. Back to a couple questions here. I just want to say something about the one product store. And then I'll get off my soapbox because people are asking, should I do general store, niche store, or one product?
Oh. You could think about this forever.
You could think about it forever. But I have to say, of all the dropshippers that we've interviewed, only one has made it rich with the one product store. Of the ones we've interviewed, there's definitely been other successes. And I think what I have found when I tried to do a one product store was if I messed up, I had nowhere to run. Like I had put in all this work into branding and building a domain and an Instagram account and then my product just failed. Now I didn't do a daily deal product and maybe that would have made a difference, but I'm doing a niche store now and I feel like I have a lot more room to test different products. So if you are completely new and you don't have any instinct for what is a good product, start with a niche store. You can always start other stores with all that money you'll be making with your niche store.
Absolutely. I think that it's a really good point. One thing that I've learned from dropshipping is you should never make assumptions. You should never look at a product and think, I know that this is going to be $1 million product. You need to test everything because you will always be surprised by what actually is working the best or what's clicking or maybe what countries are actually the most interested in your product. And if you have a one product store, you are really rolling the dice. If you're an expert dropshipper and you already know, you kind of have a formula for what makes a winning product, you've seen so many, and are willing to bet on it, I think it's a great idea. But if you're someone who's just getting started and you're wondering, is this a winning product? It does have a wow factor. I think it is, but I'm not really sure. Then you should definitely consider a niche store because that way you'll have other products to test as well, and you can test it to the same audience. And that's really, really helpful. And that way you can let the data speak for itself rather than your own assumptions. And that's the best way to find success.
That's one of the reasons why I'm seeing a lot of like, hey, should I sell mugs? Should I sell this? What should I sell in this niche store? And I wish I do have recommendations and they're coming out in tomorrow's video and future videos. But ultimately, a lot of what you should sell is going to be determined on what the data tells you is selling, which is why I know it's frustrating to hear this, but you do have to invest a little bit in Facebook ads. Like when we started the Green Kitchen Goods store, I thought for sure the beeswax wraps would sell. And I thought the beeswax wraps were cool. I was playing with them all the time. I took some home and I still use them at home. And so I was totally surprised when these coffee pods were the most interesting product.
I was shocked. I was
Hmm.
like, the coffee
Yeah.
pods? I remember looking at the coffee pods and I thought, are we gonna really try to advertise this product too? I was like, I feel like we should advertise another one.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
how it happens.
so if someone had suggested the beeswax wraps for my store, I would have been like, great. In fact, I'll do a single product
Hmm.
store, and I would have missed the profit. So that's why building the niche store and stocking it with a couple things is good. And yeah, we say more about it in the course, so I won't go on because I want to
Hmm.
get to some questions. We have these questions about um, we had that question about shipping times
Mm.
and why would customers wait for shipping times. Um, Two thoughts on that. First of all, shipping times are not always what they seem. I recently bought a ton of products off AliExpress from my store to check them out. And we're here in Germany, the products were coming from China, and I got my first product within a week, even though it said will ship within 21 days or so. So that's definitely a supplier that I am going back to and working with because they were super prompt. And I'm starting to get the other packages now too, and it hasn't even been 2 weeks. So that's a big argument for testing your products. We've both had stores where customers waited up to 3 weeks with no incident.
No
Like,
problem at all.
no
Yeah.
problem.
It's I know that you can sometimes look at fast shipping available on Amazon Prime or something like that, and it pretty much just puts a block on you starting your business because you're like, how could I ever compete with that? And it's definitely a frustrating situation, but you'd be surprised how many products take 2 weeks anyways to ship. One example that I always refer back to in my own personal experiences is when I was living in Canada, I ordered a pair of pants from the United States. I paid for expedited shipping because I was going to a party and I wanted to wear them to this party. So I paid $40 for shipping for these pants. And then they got stuck at customs. Then Canada Post lost them. Then I wasn't home for one delivery. And it ended up taking 2.5 weeks, even though I had paid for this expedited shipping. And sometimes I realize that when I order from AliExpress and I use ePacket, it actually comes faster from China
Yeah.
than when I ordered from the United States and it got stuck in all these logistics.
We actually, Julie Murphy says, I decided to buy from AliExpress and wait, even though I could get it from Amazon faster. Some of us are just tired of Amazon, and I actually receive my products fast. So, like,
Awesome.
yeah, it's customers. The important thing is to stay in touch with
Mhm.
them. So, if a customer does reach out, respond quickly and say, let me get on top of that for you. And in our order fulfillment and shipping lesson, which is like the second to last lesson in the course,
Mhm.
we tell you exactly, like, we give you the code so that customers have a custom tracking number automatically. You don't have to send it to them, they have
Yep.
it. And we also tell you how you can look it up just in case the customer doesn't realize they have the tracking number. And that makes it so much easier to be direct with your customers.
Yeah, and by the code, I would like to reiterate that you just need to copy and paste it into a box. It's just super easy and it sends them an automatic tracking code. And just to be clear, to touch on that, with e-package shipping, it comes with free tracking. So it's not like it's just coming fast from China. You know where it is. Your customers are able to track it themselves just by clicking a link in the email. So it's awesome and it's extremely cheap. Like e-packet shipping is amazing and it's made a lot of people a lot of money.
So, Quickness Official has interesting questions. They say, I hear dropshippers say all the time, I work 15 hours a day. Can you explain what they mean? Because what else can you work on when your ads are running and collecting data? For the beginner, that's a great question because, yeah, your ads, at a certain point, you hit run on your ads and you
Mhm.
have to just sit back and wait.
Yeah, it can definitely be torture. But I think that when people refer to working 15 hours a day, you need to know that dropshipping is a challenge. Nobody is born an expert dropshipper, just like nobody's born
That's
an
true.
is an expert at Facebook ads. When people are saying that they're working 15 hours a day, it's reading, learning, testing, watching YouTube videos like ours. You should definitely
Hours,
subscribe.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good at that. CTA, I love
Yeah.
it.
Um,
Hours of product research on
yep.
AliExpress. These people are, like, I remember when I was talking to Alexander, of Andreas and Alexander, who are just killing it in their niche. And once he was showing me the site he uses to just look for trending products. It was called like why can't I have that or I must have it,
Yes.
something like that. And as he was showing it to me, he got like sucked in, and like I
Hmm.
had to be like, hey, we're still filming. That is the attitude, the obsessive attitude of dropshippers.
Hmm.
They're always like, what's the next big thing? What's the next big thing in marketing? What's the next big product? What cool app can I add to my store? And that learning process is what they love. It is what's
Yeah.
so fun about dropshipping.
Yeah, and it's also when we talk about working that much a day, it's also about keeping in mind your surroundings. What's going on in the media? What's trending right
Yeah.
now? What do people care about? Because those are all things that you can use to advertise to, that you can sell something to. So
Yeah.
you kind of need to be kind of always on a little bit because you need to be knowing what's happening. What are other trending products in other industries? Because that can influence other things. Movies that are popular, music that's popular.
Mm,
I remember with one store when I was selling those fashion chains, I was advertising to people who were interested in rappers, the current rappers that were really popular on the top 40 charts. And that was working for me. So you kind of need to always be thinking about what's going on and kind of always be working a little bit. And it sounds difficult, but you will get obsessed with it. You'll just start to see different trends and you'll just be so interested in knowing, wait, that product is selling that many units a
yeah.
month?
Yeah, it'll surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to actually bring it full circle because even though TikTok is really new as an like it doesn't really exist as an
Mm-hmm.
advertising platform yet, although it will probably head in that direction. TikTok is a great place to find the trends first
Yeah,
because I think they're showing up there before
Instagram.
Instagram. Like if you don't know what a hydro flask is and like
Uh-oh.
and a yoop, and if you don't know that, like you're missing out on a huge trend that a lot of young girls are going crazy for right now,
Hmm.
and that started on TikTok. So even if yeah, stay on top of that platform for product research purposes and for branding ideas, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I want to go back here. Oh, overcoming the struggle of being a perfectionist. You know what,
Oh.
Dave? I would say, I can't show you this, Dave, but we see the highest grossing drop shipping stores and they ain't perfect, but they are profitable.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons why we stopped doing store reviews, is because, there's a lot of things you can do to make your store look really beautiful and like something you want to show off to your friends. And that does help your store, but it's not, it doesn't make or break things. And so at the end of the day, you know, you need to step back and take it from me. A lot of imperfect stores make a
Hmm.
lot of money,
Hmm.
and focus on where your efforts have the most impact. Probably researching products, researching your ads, and thinking about ways to really do ads in a way that stands out from the crowd. That's a big thing. I feel like a lot of people, and we teach this too, we teach what's working with ads, but the people who break through and make a lot of money look and they say, okay, what's working with ads? Fine. What else is catching my attention?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do that. Like Ryan Carroll, he noticed that reviews, like if influencers would post videos saying like, "Oh, I love this new, I don't know, toothbrush. It's so cute," that people would stop because it looked like a genuine person.
Hmm.
So he started creating ads that looked like reviews. He had his mom be like, "Yeah, this is a great toothbrush,"
Hmm.
and people stopped and clicked because he was doing something different. So that's what I would say about that. Do you have any perfectionist tendencies that you fight against?
I definitely do. I've spent so many hours making stores that I thought looked absolutely gorgeous. I was like, this store looks like it's
You're
worth a
showing
million
it to,
dollars.
I'm doing that now, which
Yeah.
worries me. I'm showing it to
Mm-hmm,
everyone.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can definitely be proud of it, but the thing is that's only taking away time from you getting started and making those mistakes.
Mm.
That is you preparing, waiting at the edge of the diving board, being like, oh, my store's not perfect yet, my store's not perfect yet. And that's not what's important. What's important is diving in because the water's gonna be cold anyways, and you
That's a
just
great
need to
idea.
get started and you just need to like go through that and get started on the other aspects of your business. It's really, really difficult, but you need to take it from us. I'm always shocked by the stores that make the most money because they are so simple. Some
Yes.
of the highest grossing stores always use free themes. They always use free Shopify themes. So if somebody ever asks about investing in a theme, um, hold on it.
Yeah.
Use that money and go ahead and spend that on advertising
Yes.
or
Yeah.
product testing or the ads themselves, because there are so many stores that are succeeding with free Shopify themes, and they are just such a great thing to use. So don't feel like you need to pay for a premium theme to have a successful store. And in terms of perfectionism, I'm sorry, there's no easy answer. You just need to stop and start making mistakes.
Totally. I've got some questions that I'll go through kind of quickly and then get to some juicy ones. The first one, someone's asking about, is reselling from AliExpress a legal issue? The answer is no. A lot of the AliExpress suppliers actually have in the product description, we love dropshippers. If you're dropshipping, like dropship with us, send us a message, let us know how we can help. I've gotten responses from sellers saying, let us know what you think of the product, and if you order more, we'll give you a discount. So it's legally, it's totally fine. I'm not giving you official legal advice, but Oberlo is a business built on this, and everything checks out.
Yeah. If you want to be sure, because I know some of you might be worriers, I'm a worrier, I totally understand. Go ahead and send them a message. On AliExpress, you can really easily send any supplier a message by just hovering over the supplier name. And
yeah, in the top left corner.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth it to ask, because if you're drop shipping with a supplier, you're making them money. You're selling their product for them. Of course, you're making some for yourself, a cut of that, but you're also selling their product and they're taking a profit from it.
Someone just asked a really great follow-up is Israel said there's a few popular products in the car accessories niche that have brand logos. Is that legal to resell?
No.
Nope. So if it has a brand like the Lion King, Simba, BMW, don't go there.
Yeah.
That it's not the fact that you're reselling from AliExpress, it's the fact that you're infringing on copyright. So that's why we say a no-go there.
Yeah, and that would be, don't sell those brand logos on any platform or from any platform.
And if you're not sure, you can always ask someone from the support team. You can email hello@oberlo.com and say, hey, I'm really interested in this. Is this branded? Because we don't want you to waste your time building a store around a branded product. We'll happily tell you yes or no. So
yeah.
There's one question about what is most important for a beginner to do. And I want to keep this high value, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but how would you answer this?
I would say that the most important thing for a beginner to do is to get started. And the reason I say that is because mistakes are inevitable, but they're also the best way to learn. I just recently moved to Germany, and I would really like to learn German. Reading about learning German, reading about courses in German, reading about how to learn German is not as effective as just starting to learn the language. And I think that's the same with dropshipping. You're going to be making mistakes, and there's no perfect way to start, there's no perfect way to go through it, but that's the best way to learn. When you stumble, you learn even more. So I would suggest for beginners, the most important thing to do is do the bare minimum to get you through to the next stage. And then once you do that, you'll slowly start learning, because mistakes are going to happen. And the best thing about making mistakes is the more you make, the easier they are to make. Eventually, one of them isn't going to keep you up at night. And you're just going to know, well, that's another one into the bucket. So you just need to keep on going. So I would suggest that for beginners.
And I'll tell you from experience, Magda, that dropshipping is way easier than learning German. So if we have any German speakers in the audience, you're already ahead of the curve. I echo, I think the mindset is most important. One thing that I personally do, I know this is really cheesy, but I'm a big fan of visualization. I will take a sheet of paper and I'll make myself fill it, and I will describe what life is like in 1 year. Am I working from a laptop in Thailand? Am I checking in on my store and I see 6 figures in sales? Because having that vision will help with the problems that come up every single day with dropshipping. The dropshippers that succeed are the ones who get their mind right, and they treat that part of their business, their mindset, as a really critical component, because it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I would definitely look into, make sure you watch the interviews.
Hello, creative Avon.
Definitely watch the interviews we do with pro dropshippers, because I think hearing about their struggles and the challenges they went through will show you that you're just like them, that no one is born just a professional dropshipper, and that you can do it too. You just need to go through the motions, and the motions being the mistakes and all the learning processes.
I have two kind of related questions. So J. Cruz wants to know, are high ticket price products, so say products that are over, you could even say over 25, but over $50 on AliExpress, is that a good idea to sell? And then another question, which is kind of related, is what's the best price range to advertise products when just starting? And I say they're kind of related because I remember Andreas was saying he gives himself a Facebook ad testing budget of the product price times 3. So if, and that's his product price, I believe. So if he's, and then product, when you're setting a price, it's also times 3. We really like that times 3
Yep.
rule. So if you sold a $50 product, it's $50 on AliExpress, so $50 for you to buy. Conventional wisdom would say you should price that at $150.
That's
And
expensive.
then yeah, and then you should have an ad budget just to see if that product is viable of
Yeah.
450. We got it. 150 times 3, 450. So
Whew.
can you do it? Yeah. Yeah. It will take a bigger budget to test that though. So that's why we recommend the smaller products. And another reason too is that when you're starting out, you're new at creating product pages and convincing people. And a lot of these are more expensive products. They're like electronics with different components, and customers will have questions and they'll want to see videos of it in action. And if you're not prepared to do that work on the product pages, it's going to be really hard to get conversions.
Yeah, think about yourself in the process, and what you would do as a customer. If you were purchasing something for $50 to $100, even that, you would probably think about it a little bit. You'd probably want to come back. You would want to shop around, see if it's cheaper anywhere else out there. You would want to think about if you really need it, and that's going to take a lot longer to convince customers, and that's going to be really expensive in advertising. Whereas if you have a cheaper product that's let's say around $20 to $25, maybe $10 to $25, that's what we like to call the impulse buy range.
Yeah.
So customers are going to be a lot more likely to just go ahead and purchase the product rather than thinking it over, because it's a lot easier to spend $20 than to spend 50 or 100. It's two completely different ball games. And also cheaper products are cheaper to market, and you can definitely advertise them more and test them more. So if you're a beginner, I would definitely suggest starting with low ticket products at first. You don't have a reason not to, because there's millions of amazing ones on AliExpress.
Another question that we're getting a lot related to the general store versus niche store. First of all, if you're still asking, should I do general or niche? We tell this in the course and we explain our reasons, but for absolute beginners, niche, wide niche. You don't have to be like, I want to only target, bamboo toothbrushes and bamboo flop. I don't know, whatever. Something really narrow. You can make it a wide niche. Cooking. Anything that appears on the left-hand side of AliExpress is a niche.
Yep.
So niche over general store. But if you do decide to do general store, and there are really good reasons for trying that as well, we have this question about the pixel. Will pixels get confused in a general store?
No, they won't. It will remember it will be just linked to those specific products, so you don't have to worry about that at all. If you look at our interviews with the Beast of Ecom, Harry, or with Chris Wayne, they both run really successful general stores and like to stand by that model. So I would definitely check out the interviews with them, because they are a testament that the Pixel has no problem with general store products.
Totally. Okay, guys, I think we are coming up on time. This has been tons of fun for us. So thank you for that. We'll be back here in about a month. So early November, you'll get another email about this. If you want to rewatch any of this video, then just go to the same link that you are on now. The video will be saved here. If we didn't get to your question, email hello@oberlo.com. A human will answer it. And even if it's not a question, even if it's kind of like, hey, I can't decide between two things, I guess it's still a question. What I'm saying is we'll answer a broad range of questions. We really, really want you to succeed at this, because we know you can. And the fact that you're taking Oberlo 101 and taking that first step, you're going a distance that a lot of people aren't. So congrats for being all action and not just all talk.
And thanks for hanging out with us and talking about dropshipping.
Yeah, totally. All right, I'll see you guys later, and happy dropshipping.
Okay, bye everyone.